Welcome to Pekin, Illinois for the 1991 Illinois High School Association Girls Class AA State Softball Championship game. Hello everyone, I'm Ann Penstone. Along with me is Lori Ramsey, the coach of Illinois Central College and a Hall of Fame pitcher. And Lori, as usual, it's great to work with you, and it's so much fun to be here at the end of the IHSA sports season.
Well, Ann, there's no place I'd rather be than beautiful Mineral Springs Park for the championship game of the AA State Girls Softball Finals.
And the finalists in tonight's game are East Moline United and Thornwood of South Holland. They got here by different routes.
They certainly did. East Moline had to struggle. They had several close games, including the last game against Moline, their annual nemesis, which they won 2-1. Thornwood, on the other hand, won games by scores of 13-0, 2 games by 11-0, and the last game before Mineral Springs Park was 7-0. So they had a little easier route.
And in the top bracket, quarterfinals and semis, East Moline had some close games.
They certainly did, and Danelle Shear proved to be a very clutch pitcher. Many times she got out of it with runners in scoring position and actually led them this far.
And for Thornwood, people have been having a lot of trouble scoring against them.
Until today, when Washington finally scored to make the score 4-1, Amy Klein, in a very unusual move for Tina Ziccola, walked with the bases loaded, forcing in a run.
Lori talked to both coaches about the strengths of their teams.
Well, Lori, number one, pitching. Without Tina Ziccola, we probably would not be here, and you know, she's been a mainstay for our program here now for the last 3 years. So you know, the game starts with pitching, and we've had that dominant pitching, and we've played great defense. The last 3 years, we've had great defensive teams, and again, our speed has been a big factor the last 3 years.
I think the strengths of our team are a solid defense. We used our defense to carry us all year. We said at the beginning of the year, though, that we needed to get a little more pop in our bats, and we've done that. We've responded very well. We're batting over .318 as a team, and we're hitting 1 through 9 throughout the order. Also, we're averaging less than 1 error per ball game, and that's really been a strong defensive effort, especially in a tough conference that we're in, like the Western Big Six.
The two pitchers contrast in many ways. Tina Ziccola is strictly a rise ball pitcher, and in most of the games throws the ball out of the strike zone as much as she possibly can to get the batter to swing at bad pitches. The pitcher from East Moline, Danelle Shear, is an excellent low ball pitcher, works on the out curve, and goes into this game a little underrated by comparison. But you have to remember, she hasn't lost.
Well, Lori, we're literally looking forward to it. We'll be back with tonight's starting lineups and the first pitch right after this. The great crowd here at Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois on a perfect night for a state championship softball game. Ann Penstone and Lori Ramsey getting set to bring you all the action. As the umpires are meeting at home plate, the coaches meeting for the last minute instructions, and Thornwood, the home team, taking the field.
Batting fifth, playing second base, Luann Schlieder. Batting sixth, designated hitter, Kelly Finch. Batting seventh, catcher.
Well, let's give you the starting lineups for the visitors, the Panthers of East Moline. Pitching and leading off, Danelle Shear. At shortstop, Leslie Comerworth. At first base, Chris Fiebig, the hot hitter lately. At third base, Tony Rios. The second baseman, Luann Schlieder. The designated hitter, Kelly Finch. Catching, Brandy Martell. In right field, Laurel Darrant. And she's a freshman. And in left field, Jennifer Finch. Defensively,
the Thunderbirds set up with Venturella and Hudson at first and third. Good bunt defensive people and a lot of speed in the outfield with Hosey, Hyman, and Campbell.
They've been here before. They're the defending champs, and they'd like nothing better than go home with two-time champions written on their shirts.
And defense is the key.
Kevin McNitch, the East Moline coach, his first time here. As you see the umpires, behind the plate, George Leverins. At first base, Joe Thompson. Second base, Darwin Powell. At third, Ken Morissette. In left field, down the line, John Bellin. In right field, Lee Loopy. We've got an extra set of umpires night. We need lots of eyes to make sure that all the calls are made as best they can, and it's real nice to have all that help. They're used to working through the season with just 2, and there you see the defending champion pitcher, Tina Zaccolo, a senior. Take a look at those stats, folks. She has been difficult to hit.
One reason she's so difficult, Ann, is her excellent rise ball, and Zaccolo has an outstanding knowledge of how not to throw the ball over the plate and get strikes. She will nibble away at the corners, and she'll throw that rise ball in their eyes and try to get them to swing at it.
Well, we talked to her briefly before the game, and she's really relaxed.
She certainly is. I think winning it last year has removed some of that tension.
Well, those stars you see on the hats of the Thunderbirds, each one given for a specific objective.
Such as a game win for a pitcher or 3 hits in a game for a hitter. Not just for a good game. They have a list of feats that they have to perform to get each and every star.
You know, early in April, we mentioned in the Open that they had a tough beginning, but part of that senior leadership, you see Tina Zaccolo right there telling her team what we're going to do, how we're going to play this, and setting the stage.
Well, they have a senior battery, and Tina Zaccolo and Michelle Zeiger, and they've worked together for the last 4 years, and they show it on the field.
And there's your leadoff batter, the opposing pitcher, Danelle Shearer, also good with the bat, hitting .330, no home runs, and 8 RBIs. She's got to be patient, not go for that rise ball. And we're underway. First pitch, and it's fouled back over to the dugout here. Strike 1.
Zaccolo starts her with a rise ball in the strike zone. Let's see if she follows her pattern and goes up and out with the next pitch.
Contact may be just as important for Danelle right now to make, so that she knows that she's in the right spot. They're way up in the box on this rise ball pitcher. Zaccolo prepares for the second one. High. We don't see that too often. Not
No.
from her.
She was going with the pattern, though. She wanted to throw one up and out. She just didn't want it that up and out, I don't think.
Guess she's human.
I think she might be a little more tense than she lets on.
This is it. This is her last high school game, and she gets strike 2 on the inside pitch to Shearer.
It's another example of her pitching, throwing a ball, and getting a strike.
Counts 1 and 2. Leadoff batter. Right down the middle, she gets her first K. She's had 25 in the quarters and semis. That makes number 6, and that's a swinging strikeout for out number 1.
One reason the Thornwood defense looks as sharp as it does is they don't have as many opportunities to play the ball as a lot of other defenses.
Well, they've shown that when they do get the ball, they know exactly what to do with it. Have one of the best infields when they do their warm-ups of any team I've ever seen. And that first swing by Leslie Cumberworth, the junior shortstop, hitting .308. Notice that we don't really have a lot of home run hitters. These are not home run hitting teams. These are teams that put the ball in play. Goes with a change, bats it out in front. Zeiger comes up with it and throws out to Venturella. 2-3.
Zeiger is awfully quick behind the plate, has a lot of range. As we see right now on the replay, she comes out, gets rid of the mask in one motion, makes a perfect throw to the inside of the base. You always want that throw on the inside of the field, not down the line into the runner.
And that's going to bring up Chris Fiebig, who had the big hit in extra innings to put them into this championship game. The junior hitting .360, takes strike 1.
And she looked like she wanted to be up there today with the game hanging on the line. That's a sign of a good hitter.
She did the same thing in the regional championship game, so she's no stranger to clutch hitting. Strike 2, took her on the out. But she didn't like that. She walks away from 0-2. Zaccolo way ahead at this point.
Again, she swung at a ball up about eye level, and that's Zaccolo's pattern. Get a strike and throw that next pitch up in the eyes.
And watch out for the change on a batter like this. Doesn't need it, and we've got 2 strikeouts already as they go down 1-2-3 in the top half of the first, and we'll be back with Thornwood batting right after this. For the home Thunderbirds of Thornwood, let's see the starting lineups and batting order for them. Leading off, the catcher, Michelle Zeiger, who made that nice play to end the first half of the inning. At third base, Shannon Hudson. The first baseman, Michelle Venturella. Second base, Emily Perno. In right field, Michelle Campbell. In center field, Carrie Hyman. Playing left, Chris Hosey. The shortstop, Olivia Acosta. And the designated hitter, Darcy Pidrak, batting for Zocola. And the starting pitcher, of course, the leadoff batter for East Moline, Danielle Shearer, and she's already got strike one, so they're returning the favor right back in this half.
They certainly are, and that was a characteristic of Shearer. She gets ahead on the batters, rarely walks anyone, keeps the ball down, doesn't throw it up in their eyes.
Now, a little bit high, 1-1. Zeiger's got a lot of power. She pulled a few out of here foul earlier in the day. She's a mighty mite, hitting 275, and you see those RBIs from the leadoff position.
She's got a lot of speed, runs well. Defensively, we see Tony Rios at third base and Chris Fiebig at first base, and they're going to be the key for the Panther defense because they're going to have to combat the bunting game.
And we get first baseman Chris Fiebig, who Lori just mentioned, unassisted with the first put out of the inning. As she retires Zeiger.
Fiebig's a right-handed batter, but a left-handed defensive player, and has had several outstanding defensive plays at first base.
And that brings up the third baseman, Shannon Hudson, hitting .344, a junior. Swinging strike one.
Coach Legesse said before this game started that he was going to go with his short game, so I think we won't get too far into this game before you see the slap hit or the bunt.
A little bit of change of speed goes down to Rios and put out third to first.
Rios, just a sophomore, has a gun for an arm, and she plays all three sports in high school well. Volleyball, basketball, and softball, all three team sports.
Great attitude, and we understand she's also been selected to go to a leadership conference for the Western Big Six conference, so quite an honor for a sophomore as you get a good look there at Michelle Venturella. Venturella, we just talked about Rios, here's another three-sport athlete. In fact, she's been inducted into her school's Hall of Fame for being an all-conference in three-sport.
Must be nice to be in the Hall of Fame at 18 years of age.
She's hitting .364 with 35 RBIs, and she can swing the bat. A little bit of a dribbler right down to Rios, makes her play it, and we've got busy Rios over on the hot corner, and they are set down 1-2-3, so we've got the makings of a great ball game and tight. So after one, no runs, no hits, no errors, and we'll be back with inning number 2. Everybody's been 3 up, 3 down so far, and it brings up the cleanup hitter, Tony Rios, who had the put out at the end of the last half inning. The sophomore batting .318.
Rios has one of those long power swings.
See that home run stat? Ball 2, Zocola's not going to give her anything good to hit with that kind of power.
But she's showing some patience, and that's what East Moline's going to have to do against Zocola.
And that's a strike, 2-1. That's probably been the hardest thing that we've seen in the last 2 years, is for people to lay off that rise of Zocola. So patience is the key.
That's right. I thought Lockport did a better job of it this year, even though they lost 2-0. They were in the ball game. Their pitcher, Podlesny, hit a shot that almost got through in the 6th inning. They had 2 runners on base. They gave themselves a chance this year.
Zocola with the count even, 2-2 to Rios. And gets her swinging, and her 3rd strikeout. This time it was Rios, the victim. And that brings up Luann Schlieder.
Rios, of course, swings this time not at a rise ball, but a low outside curve ball.
The All-Star Zocola looking at the Quad Cities Player of the Year, Luann Schlieder. Great second baseman, hitting .480 for the season. She's a senior.
And Coach McNinch said today that she can hit it out anytime in this tournament, and I'm sure he'd like to see it right now. The fences here at Mineral Springs Park are approximately 225 feet from home plate. That takes a pretty good blast to get it out of the park.
The count right now is even at 1-1, and there's one out. The Luann Schlueter.
Schlueter's a second baseman who really started out as a third baseman and made the change for the good of the team.
Good cut there. She's behind in the count, 1-2. Looks down at Kevin McNinch, gets the sign. Focusing, look at the eyes.
Zakola's focusing out there also, and that's something that Thornwood does before the game. They walk in a very business-like fashion.
Popped up and out of play. Nice catch by the fan.
We have a nice crowd here again tonight, Ann. Last night when Washington played, we had standing room only because they're one of the local teams.
This park has been the site of so many great ball games for ASA summer ball and high school ball, and Pekin plays their local games here, and this is a very knowledgeable softball area. That's one of the things that makes it so much fun to be here.
For a long time, softball's been one of the major sports, not only in Pekin, but in Central Illinois.
Zakola throws her the change. She got contact on it, but right back to Tina, and she goes down pitcher to first. So we've got 2 outs in the top half of the second.
There we were fooled, stepped a little early on an off-speed pitch, made an easy play to Zakola. It hasn't been easy for Zakola all year, however, because early on in April, Thornwood was only 9-6.
The designated hitter, Kelly Finch, rounds out to the shortstop, and again, we're out up and down, 1, 2, 3. And after 1.5, zeros across.
Second inning, second baseman number 4, Emily Perno.
There you see the 4th place team in this year's tournament, Mascuda from down south near St. Louis, with the happy faces and the trophy to go home. And there are 2 teams that go home winners, and there's one of them, and that's Washington, the local team around here. And while we're away with that, we've got the no-hitters already been broken up. As we get a base hit to right by the cleanup hitter for Thornwood, Emily Perno, hitting .310, the senior, cracks one into right. And there you see our first base runner of the night.
And coming to the plate is Michelle Campbell. And earlier today, Coach Legesse told us that she's the heir apparent to the pitching role next year once Tina Zakola graduates.
Now here you see the strategy in softball that you baseball aficionados may not be ready for. So much bunting, so much gamesmanship, much more the short game. She decides a
slap hit. Slap hit.
That is the trademark of the Thunderbirds. And it works, going off the leg of the pitcher Shearer, and we've got runners on first and second.
We shorten up and then slap hit right off the leg. Cumberworth hustles over, but too late. The slap hit is the weapon of the Thunderbirds, and the hardest spot for a pitcher to catch a ball is something that's hit at her shins.
That was scored as a hit, so we back-to-back singles, and that brings up Carrie Hyman, hitting .378, the junior, the center fielder.
She has one of the 2 home runs Thornwood's hit this year.
That bunt attempt fouled.
The home run is not their weapon.
This is not a park where you're likely to see a home run unless it's over the fence. It's generally playable.
You'll see a lot of triples in the gap.
Counts 0-1. Wanting to advance the base runner. Nobody out. Bottom half of 2. There you see the bunt and the slap attempt. So they're going right after their bread and butter right now. Getting the signs down there from Gary Legesse.
On the slap hit, the batter will show bunt, then pull the bat back and just take a very short, compact swing.
Counts 0-2. Going outside to the catcher, and Nothing doing. Tries to get her to sucker for the outside pitch. Nothing doing for Carrie Hyman. 1-2.
Thornwood is very selective in the pitches they swing at.
Perno on second. Popped up, maybe in play, but just out. As we see Brandy Martell go back to see it. Staying alive.
Martell's made a couple of very outstanding plays in this tournament. One where she crashed full speed into the fence the other day and held on to the ball.
Well, these two, this battery for East Moline, no strangers to each other. They have been battery mates for 9 years.
They played with the Firebirds that as 12-year-olds, they were in the National ASA Championship tournament. So they are anything but inexperienced.
Good stop there by Martell on the low ball by Sure. Count even at 2-2. Nobody out and runners up first and second. Up to bat, that's Carrie Hyman.
Two strikes, Hyman will probably swing away now.
She does, goes to second base, tries to tag the runner. Safe at first, and we've seen no call so far. It's second whether that tag was good, and we may have everybody safe. And that's what we've got.
Hyman hits the ball to second. She reaches for the runner, misses, comes to first, late.
That was a heads-up play by Schluter. She knew exactly what she had to do. She just was unable to make the tag, and we've got a little conference here on the mound. Kevin McNitch wants to talk to the Panthers. Talk about the strategy here.
You know, one reason she was not able to make that tag is Thornwood has an extra weapon that no one really ever talks about, and that's the fact that they are great base runners. They get a great jump off the base, and that was the case on this play.
Nobody out, runners everywhere. And up to bat, Chris Hosey has the highest batting average on the team. Hitting .441, a senior, an experienced player. Danelle Shear, there you get a good look at Hosey.
You saw an example of Thornwood hitting by the last batter. When you get 2 strikes, you just swing to make contact. You don't swing to hit the ball any distance at all.
Fouled out of play to the right side, 0-1.
Hosey took a full cut there.
Fly ball, probably foul, and Rios makes the grab and looks right at third. Little action right there. Here's the first out of the inning, and that's a big one. Now they have a chance for double play, but there's good speed on the base pass, and the infield is pulled in to try to take the ball home on anything on the ground.
This is the crucial out, of course, because in softball, when you come in this far, anything on the ground, not hit directly at the infield, is going straight through. They're in the base paths, even slightly in front of the base paths, which means 55 feet from the batter.
And up to bat. Here's a pinch hitter. We've got Gilstrom, a pinch hitter, batting for Olivia Acosta. Fouled out of play to the right.
Gilstrom has batted before in this tournament. It's not as though this is her first time up. Olivia Acosta is a slapper and a bunter. I think they want a little more power right now.
Right off the plate, a tough play. Schluter, and safe. Not a lot she could do about that. That ball hit the plate, bounced up about 15, 20 feet. Schluter came charging hard, but not in time to bring it home to Martell. And there's the first run of the ball game for the Thunderbirds.
And on the replay, you see her beat it into the ground high, and Emily Perno scores. And what a jump she got off third base. Gilstrom did exactly what Thornwood wanted, was put the ball in play, hit it on the ground, give the base runner a chance to get home.
Another conference on the mound. As you see, the 2 hits scored. We've got 1 out right now. and runners are still loaded everywhere.
In Darcy Pidrak, you see a converted right-hander who will probably drag the ball or beat the ball into the ground. Very quick.
Infield still way in, all the infielders in. And Pidrak tries that slap, just like you said, Lori. Unsuccessfully that time, 0-1.
Most converted right-handers are slappers and never really develop a lot of power. You can bring your outfield in when they're up, and the East Moline outfield is a little deeper than I thought. They're creeping in now.
Pidrak hitting 375 and batting for Zacola. Tries it again. Home plate umpire looks to the first base umpire to get the call, and it's called a strike as she made the attempt. 0-2, so that helps Shearer. She's got 0-2.
Now, if Pidrak follows suit, she'll stay in the box and just try to make contact.
Pulls the bat away, and it's outside. Shearer tried to get her to chase it.
She's going to slap all the way, it looks like.
These kids don't start out changing over. They start using their freshman year if they're going to be slap hitters, so it's not new for them. There she tries it. Shearer gets the big swinging strikeout, and that with 2 out now, that's going to go back to the leadoff hitter, Zeiger.
Zeiger, a good contact hitter. On the strikeout, you can see that Shearer threw the ball over the outside corner, which is the ideal spot to pitch a slapper, keeping her in the box.
That ball high. Zeiger last time unassisted down to the first baseman. So she's 0-1. Runners, base is still loaded. 1 run across, there's hard hit, but right at the right fielder as she goes back, comes forward, made it exciting out there.
Looks like she lost it in the lights for a little while.
Well, a lot of these kids haven't played a lot of night games, and this nothing for bigger than this. So after 2 full innings, Thornwood draws blood first, and it's 1-0 as we get ready for top of 3. Well, the conference on the mound with the Thunderbirds. Now Zacola's pitching with a lead, makes her just that much tougher, Lori.
Yes, it does, and she has the ability to get out ahead on the count and really put the batter in the hole.
This is where East Moline's got to show composure, come right back at it, and see if they can't get some base runners. Right now, nobody's been on base, and it's bringing up at first at bat Brandy Martell, the catcher, hitting 273, 12 RBIs, and she's a junior.
East Moline has only 2 seniors and only 1 senior starter. They could be back next year, and they could be even stronger.
The battery's a couple of juniors, and she looked at strike 1, and she asked for time and gets set. Swinging strike 2, 0-2.
Tina Zacola again with the rise ball, getting that second strike. She'll be throwing that rise ball for Eastern Illinois University next year.
Strikeout number 4 as Martell goes down swinging. At least they're not looking at it. They're going up to hit. Zacola's had a lot of people with the bat on their shoulders.
Zacola, of course, throws that very deceptive rise, and there it is again, just slightly above the batter's shoulders.
And Laurel Darren, the freshman, hitting 239, playing right field, asked for time, and she's already got ball 1. 11 RBIs, playing down to that number 8 spot in the order. Bounces it off the plate, right over to Hudson. Third to first to Venturella, and we've got 2 down. But East Moline put the bat on the ball. The freshman makes contact.
And the replay, as you see, she beat it into the ground. The throw was actually aimed a little bit, but it's hard to throw the ball past Michelle Venturella at first base. She's 5'10", and a good target, and a 3-sport athlete.
And that brings up the 9th batter in the order, Jennifer Finch, hitting 279, a junior. She swings, she's the left fielder. These players getting their first look at Thornwood. They don't play each other during the regular season, so all they've seen is down here at the state tournament.
Jennifer is one of 2 Finches on the East Moline team.
And they're twins.
Her sister Kelly's the designated hitter.
0-2 and 2 outs. Top half of the third. Fouls it back. It's AA championship game.
Zacola wastes very little time between pitches. She's one of these here it is, hit it if you can type pitchers.
She's focused, but she does smile a lot.
I'd smile a lot too if I had her ERA.
You've had an ERA similar to that, Lori. It's out of the way. 1-2.
A lot of people think these players just picked this up during the high school year, but most of them are summer softball players. Thornwood has an extensive summer softball program. Coach Legesse this summer said that he will have 55 games for his 18-year-old and under players.
And at that point, we got down 1-2-3 in the top half of the third. Coming up, Hudson, Venturella, and Furno for Thornwood, and they're leading 1-0. Danielle Shearer, the US Moline pitcher, going after Shannon Hudson, who grounded out third to first, her first at bat, so she's 0-1. And ball one.
Hudson has been a steady defensive player at the hot corner this whole time.
Not bad with the bat either. She sends a hot shot into the crowd. She's hitting .344. Everybody okay.
Shannon plays both volleyball and softball, as do 5 of the Thornwood players. Coach Legesse likes them to play other sports.
Popped up. Looks like she likes that third base area as she flies out this time to Rios, the third baseman. And Shearer signals one down. That brings up Michelle Venturella. She's been an all-tourney player here 2 years, sophomore and her junior year, and not doing anything to discourage anyone this year either.
No, she's had an all-tournament tourney unless someone else has hit 700.
Ball one to her, 5'10" senior.
Shearer threw a very nice off-speed pitch there. It was a little bit inside, but I think it was a good time to throw it.
Venturella will be going to Indiana University.
We see some Thornwood fans there. They're focused on the game too, just like their players.
Three 3-0 is Shearer not giving Venturella anything. She's got a great stroke, and the right fielder is really deep on her. Generally a pull hitter. Fakes the bunt. Shearer puts it right smack down the middle. 3-1. Venturella batting with 1 out here in the bottom half of 3.
Venturella is an outstanding base runner, particularly for a big girl.
Hits it hard, but right back at the good fielding pitcher, Shearer, and she goes right back to the first baseman for out number 2.
Donnell Shearer has shown a lot of poise in this game, and I think she's focused also.
Well, that's for sure. And that bottom half of the second, bases jammed, nobody out, and they got out of it with 1 inning. That's really a psychological boost.
She really did a great job, Ann.
Emily Purno, one of the hits, she starts her off with a change. Emily singled and started off that rally and scored the run.
She's got into home on that ground ball that went about 40 feet. She got a great jump off third.
Fouled off, out of play, 1-1.
One thing that's made Thornwood such a consistent winner is their base running. I don't know if they practice it or not, but they get a terrific and legal jump off the base.
Tries to jam her inside, not quite over the plate, 2-1. Gorgeous night for softball here in Pekin. Absolutely perfect, no wind, right down the pipe, evens the count at 2-2. All 2s across the board.
The Thornwood fans didn't like that, but that looked like it was over the low outside corner to me.
You pitchers always think those are strikes when you throw them, right, Wade?
That's right. I haven't seen a ball yet.
That makes the count full. 3-2 to Emily Purno. She's a good hitter, batting cleanup. Tries to change, hard hit at Cumbersworth, and easily grounds out right over to Fiebig. And they go down in order, 1, 2, 3. So after the disastrous second inning with a run, they come right back and shut them out.
I don't think much is going to shake East Moline. They've looked steady through the whole tournament.
We'll be back with those three coming up right after this. Top of 4 and a great game. That's the way championship games are supposed to look like. It's 1-0 Thornwood. And Zeiger comes back after conferring with Zaccolo. The Z battery, Ziegler to Zaccolo.
And Danelle Shear, the undefeated pitcher of East Moline, who has good foot quickness.
Well, she just whacks a sharp one, but right at second baseman Emily Perno and goes down, trying to help her cause.
Perno will be playing her softball at Lewis University next year, and I'm sure the coach is very happy about that.
A complete player is Perno. And that brings up Leslie Cumberworth, the junior shortstop. Grounded out in the first. We need some base runners, East Moline's thinking right now as he looks down at Kevin McNitch.
They are making contact, particularly the front of the batting order.
So many arguments about whether to take that first pitch to get comfortable or go after it because it's often the best and flattest one you're going to get from Zaccolo.
Well, the Ted Williams theory is to take a pitch, but I don't think it's going to work against Zaccolo.
Well, Lori, she just lined one right up the middle, and that no-hitter's gone by the wayside, too. After one out, we've got a base runner, and it's Cumbersworth.
I think you'd call that a flat rise ball. We'll see on the replay whether it was a flat rise ball. No, it was down a little.
Looked like a 5-iron.
Sharon Backus, the head coach at UCLA, said you live with the rise ball and you die with the rise ball, and if it flattens out, you die with it.
Well, with Cumberworth on first, it brings up Fiebig, the first baseman, who has got a great swing and has put some in some big gaps. And the outfield's rather shallow for her, and she's capable of putting it just about anywhere and long.
Right, and some of these coaches in this tournament have bunted a lot with one out, but they're not going to bunt Fiebig. She's the big hitter, and they're going to let her swing away.
She, of course, had the game-winning RBI to get them here, and she'd like to duplicate that feat right about now and tie things up, see what we can do. Just make contact. Foul ball goes behind to the count, 0-2. She didn't like that. She got jammed a little bit.
Zaccolo has a very good inside pitch, and particularly with the power hitters, she saws the bat off in their hands.
Well, if you're thinking steal out there, Ziegler has a great arm and is ready, but we may see some active base running out there out of East Moline. Let's see. With Fiebig up there, you want to let her bat. Tried the change, didn't sucker for it. 1-2.
One thing about both these teams, their players all move on defense. Excellent backup systems by both teams.
Foul right inside the line. We get a collision at second. She's out on the fielder's choice when Fiebig hit down the line on the nice play by Shannon Hudson at the corner.
Excellent job of getting over and getting her body in front of the ball.
Made sure there was no double play there, though, didn't she?
Right, right. The base runner did what she needed to do. She took the shortstop or second baseman, I'm not sure who covered on that play, out of the play.
And that brings up the cleanup hitter, the sophomore, Tony Rios, the third baseman. Struck out in the first, fouls it back on the first pitch. With Fiebig on first, 2 away. Top half of 4.
Kevin McNinch down there giving batting tips to his batter, swinging his hands back and forth, trying to do the job for them.
And you see some of Rios' accomplishments, and she's just a sophomore. Tried the change and unsuccessful, but a nice throw down by Ziegler.
Zeiger's going to keep the runner right at the base. You don't get much of a break against them.
Keep her honest. Of course, in softball, there's a circle around the pitcher's mound, and if the pitcher or any other player has it within the mound, you have to make a move one way or the other right then.
Or you're out.
Keeps all that messing around on the base pass from going on. Hot shot foul into the dugout for East Moline. Venturella gives it back to Zaccolo. Rios making good contact after looking a little nervous the first time up. Doesn't look so right now. 2 outs and the count 1-2 on her. The result's the same. Zaccolo gets her on that one. So we did get a hit, but no runs, and we'll be back with bottom half of 4 right after this.
IHSA Sports.
As you're looking at softball, don't forget that our next Chicago White Sox game on Sports Channel will be tomorrow when the Texas Rangers host our White Sox in Arlington, Texas. Live coverage begins at 7:30. And following the game, stay tuned for the Sports Channel report. Well, we've had 2 hits, 1 run, and starting off for the Thunderbirds in the bottom half of 4 is Michelle Campbell, who's been a real clutch hitter, the junior, playing right field, hitting .290.
Scheer just threw her a beautiful changeup that dropped.
Probably didn't like it that she had the single. In fact, the second hit up, one of the only 2 hits off of her, and didn't want her to go any farther.
Campbell, a versatile athlete, also plays volleyball, will be the pitcher next year when Tina Zaccolo's gone.
Goes with the change again down to Rios. Good speed by Campbell, and got her on the nice stretch by the first baseman, though the Thornwood fans didn't like it a whole lot.
On the replay, you see the bunt. Rios was playing fairly deep. Might have been a tie.
Great camera work by my crew here, though.
We'll let the fans decide whether she was safe or out.
Well hit out to left by Hyman and hauled in by left fielder Jennifer Finch for out number 2.
These outfielders are having a little trouble when that ball gets up in the lights. I think it goes up in the lights and then comes down out of the lights, and when they're used to playing daylight ball all spring, it's a little tough to adjust to.
Well, this park drains so beautifully, but there's a slight decline in the outfield, and sometimes looking up because you're standing a little bit downhill from the infield does affect the view too.
Right. During the daytime, left field in particular is a murderous field to play because it's the sun field.
Oh, Chris Hosey up to bat with 2 outs right now. She lied out to the third baseman her first time up, hit well, but it's going to be out of play over toward the batting cages.
You know, Ann, I've been real impressed with the way Donnell Shears pitched. She's just come right at them. She showed a lot of poise in that inning, second inning, when they had the bases loaded and nobody out. And I think she just might be back here in the championship game next year.
Tried to get her to go on the outside pitch, but the .441 hitting Hosey didn't bite.
She likes that outside pitch. That's her bread and butter pitch. She throws a little bit of an out curve and keeps it down low.
Well hit, out to center. Sens running over for it, makes the grab. So the Thunderbirds go down in order in the bottom half of 4, and it's still 1-0, home team leading. Every batter becoming crucial right now for East Moline United in their first appearance in the title game. Down 0-1, top half of 5, AA championship game. Lori Ramsey and Ann Poundstone here calling the action for you in beautiful Pekin, Illinois. Thornwood on mound, having the convocation out there.
They have a big meeting before the game where they have a lot of cheering and stomping and carrying on, and I think it motivates them.
And up to bat for East Moline will be Luann Schlieder, the leading hitter on the team, the second baseman. A little hard hit, but right at Zaccolo last time up.
She's a girl that can hit the ball a long way. According to Coach McNinch, she can hit it out of the park.
We've got there you get a look at 4 guys are having a great time here at the park. They've been leading cheers. They've all got staff shirts on for East Moline, and they're trying to get some runs and action for them. You see the head being patted right there. That's Jose Diaz. He's the dean and also the boys soccer coach. Also is the head sophomore baseball coach Jim Sanders, the associate principal Dave Berg, and the AD Jim Unrath. They've been having a great time, and what impresses me more than anything is that every cheer they lead with their fans is always positive.
And another important thing, they started with the beginning of tournament play. They didn't just join the bandwagon here at Mineral Springs Park. They've been with this team all along.
It's so great for kids to get administrative and staff support. We've got a 2-2 count right now on the batter. And we've also got a substitute defensively for Thornwood. Into left field is Ward playing left, substituting for Hosey. Now, of course, a player can re-enter in this game once. So if you started the game, you can come back in one time.
They've had Jory Ward in left field every game in late innings as a defensive replacement.
Well, they must be a little bit worried about Schlueter, and I can understand it with that heavy batting average she's got. And she's getting a tough at bat as you look at Ward out there in left, getting her first taste of the championship game.
Schlueter's gotten her money's worth on swings. They're going low and out with her. Looked like she was trying to take that to right center, which is what a good hitter does with a low outside pitch.
Goes with it. Boy, is there a hole in left center if she could find it. It's about a mile wide out there.
Coach Kevin McNinch not only coaches softball, he coaches wrestling. He said he puts in about 70 to 80 hours a week from November on, and that's the kind of dedication it takes to get a team into this situation.
When you coach, you teach, and you gotta love it, because you're not paid for the things that are little things. And there you see that gap in left center. If Schlueter can get a hold of one and put one out there, it'd go for a while.
You sure wouldn't want to throw a changeup in this situation, would you, Ann?
Oh. Schlueter's had, she's already had one of those and contacted well. So she's probably thinking about the possibility for sure as the count goes full from Zoccola.
She's fighting her on every pitch. She's made good contact.
And gets it. And there we get a leadoff base runner as Schlueter goes hustling down to first. Gets a congratulatory handshake from Jim Bandahiti at first base. I wouldn't be real surprised to see a pinch runner. Let's see, but McNinch says no, he's just giving the signals down there to Kelly Finch, the designated hitter.
I think you can look for a bunt here in a one-run ball game, and of course softball, it's almost automatic. Oh, she bunted the ball right off her chin. If you do that and are in fair territory as the ball hits you, you're out. But evidently the umpire judged that she had been hit in foul territory. Hit her right in the mouth.
Ought to be only the pain ought to be enough punishment.
I would think so. Zoccola throws the ball about 60 miles an hour. Squares around for the sacrifice. Ball pops right off the bat into her face, and she was still in the batter's box when it hit her.
Looked like she was going down the first base line on that bunt attempt. Really crucial. Bunting's so important. You've got to be able to put it down, and of course it's tougher against a rise ball pitcher.
Well, you throw the rise ball in this situation to try and get the batter to pop the ball up. Pick off. Got her, I think. Now safe.
Whoa, boy, that was close. Got the heads-up play there by Zeiger.
Well, we'll have a replay now and see if we agree with this. The ball's there. Is the tag. She dropped it. She dropped it.
Good call and great camera work.
And the fans didn't pick it up, nor did we, till we saw the replay on television.
1-1, but it gets it down, tries to hit between pitcher, and is going to be successful at advancing the runner. Picked up on the low throw. And she does her job as she's retired on the sacrifice.
Both Zoccola and Danelle Shear of East Moline have fielded their positions very well in this tournament, and your pitcher needs to be your fifth infielder.
Well, now we've got the tying run down there at second base as Perno threatened Fiebig over at second, and now up to bat, Brandy Martell, who went down swinging her first time up. In a crucial situation right now, and she'd like to get hold of this ball. Oh, she wanted that, but held up. Big lead off by Fiebig. Of course, you cannot leave the base until the ball leaves the pitcher's hand.
Outfielders playing Martell. Pretty much right field, to hit to right field, the center fielder way over towards right field.
Well, she gave a little bit of off-speed pitch, and that left center field would have been really wide open on that if she'd connected in fair territory.
They've given East Moline batters the hole out there for almost on almost every occasion. I guess it's because it's hard to get around on Zacola.
East Moline, of course, plays in that tough Quad City area with Moline and Rock Island Alleman, who was down here for the A tournament.
Right.
So they see all kinds of great ball all year, too. Tries to change. A little bit low, says the ump. 2-1.
Coach McNinch said today one of the hardest things he has to do is get out of Moline in order to get to this tournament.
It's a compliment to the ball played out there.
They have a great summer program.
A wild pitch, which is very rare for Zacola. So now we've got a runner at third with only one out.
We may see the second run scored off her since April 24th. The first one came earlier today by Washington. On the replay, you'll see that she was throwing the rise ball and it just had a little too much rise. Zeiger didn't get up quite as quickly as she usually does.
You can kind of be a rocking chair catcher with Zacola because she tends to give it, yeah, it's great for a catcher.
She hits the target almost every time.
It's going to be interesting play down here. We've got Ed, the infield's really pulled in, that balling way inside, and we've got runners on the corners. And now Lori, the classic 1-3 strategy. What are you going to do here?
Well, I'm sure that Thornwood will do something. And the possibilities are to put the second baseman in the baseline and throw it to her as the runner on first moves off first. Another possibility is to have the second baseman cut behind the pitcher and throw through from the catcher. And if the second baseman sees that the girl on third is not running, she will let the throw go through. If she sees that the girl on third is going, she will cut the throw. A third possibility is a fake throw to one of the bases and an attempt to pick the girl off third. Which path Thornwood takes, we don't know.
Well, we've got all kinds of conferences going on because this is absolutely the crucial point in the ball game right now. We've got a pinch runner in for Martell, the catcher, and it's going to be Dawn Shearer, sister of Danelle.
And a freshman.
Well, what a crucial situation to put a pinch runner in, so I'm sure they've talked a lot about this. We've had some situations where pinch runners coming off aren't quite mentally ready. I'm sure that she is. First and third. Big swing. Okay, what they did was cover up there. That was no swing to hit. And down to second goes Dawn Shearer. So we've got runners at second and third. One out. And up to bat is Laurel Darren, another freshman, the right fielder.
I'm sure this is the biggest opportunity in her young softball career right now. Coach McNinch is talking to her about the situation.
There's Dawn jumping up, down, staying warm. Good speed out there. She's got good speed ahead of her and certainly experience. And Luann Schlueter is really ready over there at third and would do anything to get in. Steve Reich, and boy, everybody goes to third to try to stop Schlueter over there. Nobody at second, but that lead runs, the one they wanted. Both the shortstop and the third baseman covered her up. Strikes 0-2, and I know one thing. If Laurel Darren can make contact, some interesting things might happen. Of course,
right.
Nicola's trying to strike her out.
Second baseman Emily Pernow's about even with the pitcher.
And Zacola comes up with a big strikeout and justifies bringing those infielders in.
On the replay, you can see the ball, a rise ball just about armpit high. One thing in favor of Zacola right now is she's got the bases loaded, but the 8 and 9 hitters up. And I'm sure if she had a choice, that's where she'd like to be in the batting order.
Jennifer Finch right now in a big at-bat, takes a deep breath. She's 0 for 1, she struck out in the third. Showed some patience there. It's so easy to get over anxious when all you want to do is make something happen, get it on the ground, make somebody play it.
With 2 out now, the infield back to normal position, so you have to get a legitimate hit. If Darren could have moved the ball, anything would have been through that was not right at an infielder.
Kicks her foot out of the way, doesn't like the call by the ump, but it's 1-1 with 2 outs.
The 4 cheerleaders didn't like the call either. One takes his hat off.
We're always about 50-50 on every call. The 50 doesn't like it's always the noisiest though.
Right.
2-1 goes ahead of the pitcher right now. Kevin McNitch talking to Fiebig down there on third, talking about situations. The backstop is not real far away here. As you get a look at the East Moline United fans and 4 of the cheerleaders right there in front, turn their hats inside out, probably calling them rally hats. Makes contact, foul ball, but caught by catcher Zeiger.
Zakola very focused right now.
2-2, trying to preserve that lead with runners on second and third.
While she's leveling out that mound, I can guarantee you she's thinking about what she wants to throw. She's taking a little extra time between pitches, not in the least bit rattled by the situation.
Foul ball hanging tough is Finch, and of course, Zakola's only 40 feet away, and believe me, that's not much decision time.
No, they found out when they've had outstanding ASA fast pitch pitchers like Joan Joyce pitch to Ted Williams, the baseball great, and she struck him out with ease. It's just very tough to hit that ball from 40 feet.
It's there and then it's not. Foul ball, tough at bat. Finch hanging in there, left fielder, making Zakola work. Count still 2-2, and there are 2 outs, runners on second and third. We're in the top half of 5. East Moline trying to tie this game up. Tying run on third and lead run at second.
They have 7 outs left in which to score a run.
Off-speed pitch, count goes full, so the runners will be on this one.
Zakola trying to get Finch to chase that rise ball. She had thrown 2 other rise balls on the 2 previous pitches right at the borderline of the strike zone.
Hard to be patient on this, but if she gets on, it'd bring up the pitcher and a chance to help her own cause, which would be really fun. But it's not going to happen as we get the stringing strike on the one that was way out of the strike zone, and Zakola gets out of the jam. The broadcast rights to tonight's championship softball have been granted to Sports Channel by the IHSA solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any reproduction without the written consent of Sports Channel and the IHSA is prohibited. Shearer pitching to her first time up, Olivia Acosta, batting for herself, tries the slap that Lori talked about before, but unfortunately pops it up to shortstop Leslie Cumberworth for the first out. Acosta is the junior, and she is the shortstop. She's out number 1.
When you come out there on that slap, you've got to get on top of the ball. You've got to beat it into the ground, and she dropped her bat just a little bit and popped it up.
That brings up Darcy Pidrak, batting for Zakola, who got out of a big jam. She's had 7 strikeouts and none bigger than the last 2 that she had in the top of the 4th or top of the 5th.
Right, if you look at the Thornwood lineup, they have 2 left-handed slappers at the bottom, and then they have Michelle Zeiger at the top, who's another good bunter. They've got their bunters back to back. It's almost like the plate setters and the plate cleaners. The people in the middle of the lineup clean up, and the first couple of batters and the last couple of batters try and get on for them.
Thornwood nursing this 1-run lead right now is fouled out of play on that slap attempt was Darcy Pidrak. Count goes 1-2 with 1 out. One of the little fans grabs, they've got the neatest contraption here at the softball park. They've got a hole cut in the fence, a little bit of conduit that falls into a box so you can be outside the fence, drop it in, and nobody has to throw the balls over.
And hit the players, which is what has happened at some softball games.
1-2 to Pidrak. Shearer throwing hard and gets her looking. So Pidrak strikes out for the 2nd time in this game. There you get a look at that thing I was talking about. I've never seen it before and I love it.
It's an original Pekin invention, Ann.
Darn, I wish I had a patent.
Do you think Barb Waddell did that?
Well, I tell you what, Barb Waddell and her Pekin staff will run this tournament, do everything else, and that's just one of the other great things that are here.
They've done this for 16 years now. This is the 16th year it's been in Pekin, and I think it's just tremendously well organized. A lot of local softball people and personnel help with this tournament to make it efficient.
Michelle Zeiger up to bat. She's hit to the right fielder and grounded out to the first baseman. 0 for 2 tonight. The Pekin Park District is one of the best I've ever seen. They are out here helping. How can I help you? As it's well hit out in the left, so Zeiger ends her drought tonight personally and gets on with 2 away. It's only the 3rd hit.
I think you'll see in the replay it was a ball that got up, and Zeiger just went with the pitch. Threw it right up in her eyes, and she just leveled on it.
And that brings up Shannon Hudson, the 3rd baseman. Just out of the reach. Boy, that's something you won't see too often. I think the vision was blocked, but no interference.
The runner ran right in front of Luann Schlieder as the ball got to her, and that's a really tough play to make. She jumps over the ball and really obstructed, but you can't call her for obstruction, the fielder. Now, if the ball had hit her, she would have been out, and the batter would have been credited with a single.
Perfectly legal, but sort of sneaky. So we got 2 outs. We got runners on 1st and 2nd. Hard hit. Whoa, that ball tailed away from Jennifer Finch, and almost made things really exciting right here.
It was a lefty hitting the ball to left field, and you're going to get a lot of tail in that situation.
Well, we had 1 hit, no runs, and an error, and after 5 complete innings, it's still Thornwood by 1, trying to defend their championship.
We have the Thornwood coach talking about his pitcher, and I think he's had a lot of work that he's put in with her, as has Kevin Hayhurst, the pitching coach.
Well, she's a power pitcher. She's one of those kids that don't come along too often. She can be a dominant pitcher in the game. You know, she can keep you in any ball game. We feel that when we step on a ball field, we can beat anybody with her. She's got great ball movement, good location, something that she was lacking early in the season. And so far, the last month of May and even into June, she's had great ball location. And you know, the spots that she wasn't hitting in April, she's now hitting in June. So. You know, it's just pitching dominates in softball, and you know, we've been able to put things together with Tina, and you know, we're going to miss her a lot after this season.
Well, we're back up to the top of the lineup in the top half of the 6th. We got 6 outs to go, and Danielle Shearer leading off. The pitcher against pitcher takes strike 2 from Zocolo. We kind of have a unique situation here tonight. We've just announced to the excited crowd here at Pekin that Thornwood has upset Edwardsville in the baseball championships tonight, so there's a possibility of a double state championship for the South Holland school. As Shearer goes down swinging for out number 1. I know there have been teams that have won championships before, but I don't think on the same night.
Here we go with a Zocolo rise ball, and I think Coach Gary Legess talked about the movement that Zocolo has on the ball, and one of the reasons she has that movement is she has her own pitching coach.
So Acosta at short fires the ball over to Venturella at first, and we've got 2 outs very quickly as Cumberworth goes down.
Assistant coach Kevin Hayhurst has done a lot of coaching and pitching on his own, and he's helped Tina Zocolo quite a bit.
And up to bat now is going to be Chris Fiebig. Fiebig Rich first.
Fiebig, one of the toughest hitters in the East Moline lineup.
He got on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning and had that tough at bat. where she just kept fouling things off, making Zacola work. She'd like to do it again, but 2 outs right now. She'd like to start it after 2. Zacola wants to take her right down. Not one of her better swings right there.
Zacola staying down with her, which is a little unusual. She throws high to just about everybody. This is the first batter I've seen her down consistently with.
Fiebig hitting 360 when the night started. 0-2 tonight. Well hit. There's some of that power, but right at the left fielder, Chris Hosey. I'm sorry. And we go down 1-2-3. So there's only one more chance for East Moline, but they still need to hold Thornwood and protect that lead. Danielle Shearer, the valuable junior, and her coach talked about that particular valuableness.
Well, I think it has to do with the number of times she's been out on the mound in tight ball games. Again, it goes back to the competition you play and the type of ball games you're in. Also, her knowledge that our defense is going to usually knock everything down that goes their way in the infield or the outfield and get the out helps put her at ease. Another thing about Danielle is that she's very consistent. She walks maybe one batter every 3 ball games. She's only walked 14 batters all season, and she's averaging about a strikeout a ball game. And consistency is what is probably the key word for Danielle Shearer.
Well, she's 0-2, so consistency the mark, and she comes right back out as she goes after Emily Perno, the cleanup hitter for the Thunderbirds, who has reached on a single and would like to go again, but she looks at strike 3 as Shearer just takes her right out of there on 3 straight pitches.
Shearer again has such good control, and the place that she likes best is, as you can see, the outside corner. The catcher sets up out there, and that's consistently her strikeout pitches, the outside corner.
Now she goes after Campbell with a strike right down the pipe, the right fielder.
She has a very fluid motion, comes off in a good fielding position, and best of all, they'll have her back next year.
Strike 2. Look down for help from the right field or the first base umpire and says, yep, she went around. 0-2. Shearer pitching very strong here in the late innings. If she could just get a little bit of bat support.
She worked on that outside pitch again, and you know, the catcher moves and sets up over there, and in a lot of cases when they move that soon, the first or third base coach will pick it up and relay a signal. I'm wondering if Thornwood's doing any of that. Because Shearer's control is so good, you can just about bank on her hitting the target out there.
Made a nice pitch there, but didn't get the call. 2-2, evens up. Tries a little bit of off-speed. Shearer actually batted it down and unable to come up with it with Schlieder after it had been slowed down. So we get a runner on, and it's called a hit. That's hit number 4 by my unofficial count.
Here on the replay, you see Shearer just getting her glove on it a little bit. Schlieder didn't have a chance with that kind of running speed going down the line, and wisely did not throw the ball.
So with 1 out, Campbell on first, right up to the pitcher, looks at second, doesn't even hesitate, goes to 1 for the sheer out, and retires Carrie Hyman.
Again, I'd like to say I think Thornwood does the best job of running the bases of any team in this tournament. The jump off the base in softball is very underrated.
And that's Jory Ward, who comes up after substituting defensively in left field. So this is her first at bat.
She's another slapper, another one of the lefty quick players that they have.
Campbell on second with good speed. Ward in her first at bat, 2 outs. And there's a strike for Shearer. 1-2.
They're playing Ward very deep in right field for someone her size and someone who really isn't a power hitter.
Correction on that count is now 2-2 as it's fouled away. Bottom half of the 6th inning, AA championship game. Ann Penstone and Lori Ramsey here calling the action for you on this gorgeous night in Mineral Springs Park. Thornwood trying to defend their state championship. And a swing as she goes down. So after we get another single, there was 1 hit, 1 left on base after 6 complete innings. East Moline will be up for last raps, possibly.
Thornwood could be the first to repeat since Moline. They won it in 1987 and in 88 again.
We'll be back to find out right after this. It's a battle of North versus South when Sports Channel brings you the 8th annual Suburban All-Star Football Game. The top seniors from the suburban areas compete in this matchup. And folks, if you've been missing your football, the last 2 have gone down to the wire, so tune in Saturday at noon. Zacola with a big smile, 3 outs away from defending her championship. Her first, Tony Rios, the cleanup hitter, is the first batter she's facing as the count evens up 1-1. East Moline has played a great game, as Thornwood, and only 1 run separates them, as it should be in a championship game.
Every one of East Moline games have been a 1-run game. It seems like they've been on pins and needles since they started this tournament, but they've gotten this far. Rios is the kind of batter that with 1 swing could hit the ball to the fence. She's a power hitter.
2-2, count evens up. He struck out twice. Would like to make some contact right here and get things started in the top half of 7. Well hit, there's that power we talked about, but a little bit too high and brought in there nicely by Chris Hosey, the senior out left. But boy, she got a hold of that one and skied it.
Is that Ward in left? Jory Ward. Jory Ward, I believe, is in left field, and she was playing over towards center. She drifted very well back on the ball. Thornwood plays all hitters to hit late, and they were almost a little bit too much shaded to right for Tony Rios.
Brings up Luann Schlueter.
Schlueter, another power hitter, and their best hitter, according to Coach McNinch.
Takes strike 1. Nice catch out there by Ward, put in for defensive reasons, and shows why Coach Larry Legess makes those substitutions.
He doesn't make too many mistakes, I don't think, Ann.
No, and Chris Hosey's a great player too, so he can't go wrong no matter what he does. And it's nice to see lots of kids get to play in the championship game.
It certainly is. In today's 3rd place game, both coaches just cleared their benches so that the girls would have a chance to say they played in the state tournament.
Counts 1 and 2, 1 out to Schlueter. 8 strikeouts so far tonight unofficially for Zacola. And there's number 9, and it's a big one. They are 1 out away from a state championship. Look at the smiles on those kids' faces.
The Thornwood fans are certainly enjoying the game. They're trying to pull 1 more strikeout out of Tina Zacola's arms here.
Standing up, cheering on. Strike 1 to Kelly Finch, the designated hitter.
They should have quite a reception at Thornwood tomorrow if the girls win the softball tournament to join the boys who've won the baseball tournament.
D-right 2, they're 1 strike away for their great senior pitcher against this great East Moline team. But experience sometimes is a big factor. Thornwood up and cheering as you see the great contingent that's come down here. And there it is, and fittingly it ends in a strikeout, and Zacola is mobbed on the mound. Her 10th strikeout, struck out the last 2 batters in the top of the 7th, and they're going to repeat as the fans celebrate up there in the 3rd base side.
In a beautifully played state championship final. This is the way a final game should be played. Were there even any errors in this ball game?
1 error, I believe, unofficially, Lloyd. 1 hit for East Moline. I believe only 4 for Thornwood. So it was just about like we said it might be. as you see them congratulate each other as they go through the line. East Moline should be very proud about this. You see Kevin McNitch congratulating the opposition. They've been a class act. They show why they belong down here, and Thornwood shows why they are the repeat champions. First one since Moline came down here.
And one thing about Thornwood, they didn't have an easy way through the bracket. They had to beat Lockport, who had beaten them earlier 1-0 in 10 innings, and they had to beat Washington, who had beaten them twice earlier, 6-3 and 10-7 in 9 innings.
Well, as the tears of joy go down the faces, we'll be back with the awards right after this. This is how it started, this is how it ends. Sokolo with her 10th strikeout of the game, and the mitts go flying and the arms go upraised as Thornwood wins again. State champions, 1991.
That should be worth a few more stars on the hat, Ann.
I don't even think she cares if she gets them. And now for the awards ceremony, let's go to PA announcer Bob Neal.
A member of the IHSA Board of Directors and principal of Oak Forest High School, and Barbara Waddell, tournament director from Pekin Community High School. Now, please meet the Panthers of United Township in East Moline, who finished the 1991 season in second place with a final record of 30 wins and 4 losses. Presenting the medallions, Barb Waddell, to Principal Gordon Cornelius. Athletic Director Jim Unrath. Head Coach Kevin McNitch. Assistant Coach Jim Van de Heede. The players, number 10, Jessica Cranky. Number 11, Leslie Cumberworth. Number 12, Janine Sens. Number 14, Jennifer Finch. Number 15, Danelle Shear. Number 18, Tony Rios. Number 19, Kelly Finch. Number 20, Chris Fiebig. Number 21, Laurel Darren. Number 22, Luann Schlieder. Number 23, Brandy Martell. Number 25, Laura Nash. And number 26, Dawn Shear. Would the spectators please stay clear of the players, please? We'd appreciate your cooperation. And now, please meet the Thunderbirds of Thornwood High School in South Holland, who finished the 1991 season in first place with a final record of 33 wins and 8 losses. Presenting the awards is Mr. Ed Roberts. The assistant principal, Eric Kennedy. Head coach, Gary Legess. Assistant coach, Kevin Hayhurst. Assistant coach, Earl Sheridan. Manager, Jeff Meisen. Assistant athletic director, Jack O'Connor. And the players, number 0, Ole Acosta. Number 1, Jory Ward. Number 2, Michelle Zeiger. Number 3, Laura Bavona. Number 4, Emily Perno. Number 5, Carrie Hyman. Number 6, Sue Murphy. Number 7, Jenny Ratke. Number 8, Darcy Pidrak. Number 9, Beth Gilstrom. Number 10, Nicole Tovarski. Number 11, Elaine Carter. Number 12, Chris Hosey. Number 13, Michelle Campbell. Number 14, Shannon Hudson. Number 19, Tina Zaccolo. Number 20, Michelle Venturella. And number 22, Jennifer Grunewald.
And now, with head coach Kevin
We'll be back with more right after this.
Please step forward to receive the second place trophy.
The happiest girls team in the state of Illinois, the AA state champions from South Holland, Thornwood, repeating as they hold the trophy aloft and claim their rightful championship and place in history as well. Lori?
Well, they won it the Thornwood way. Tina Zaccolo struck out 11, and she takes the chance of an error. She reduces it in half every time she takes the mound and gets those 11 strikeouts. And they scored their winning run by pounding the ball in the ground and getting the great break off third and getting home with good speed.
And here's Zaccolo.
The most valuable player in the tournament.
Yes, that's the way it's supposed to end. I finished my senior year with my battery mate Zeiger and a state championship. She started with strikeout and ended the same way. When a great pitching performance. As you see, the team totals: East Moline, 1 hit, no runs, and 1 error. Thornwood, 1 run on 4 hits and no errors. And you see the final records of Zaccolo and Shearer, both of whom pitched tremendous ball games. It only took 1 run. There you see the ball that hit the plate, bounced up, and Schlueter unable to get it home before scoring was Perno off the pinch hit by Beth Gilstrom with a game-winning RBI. That's all it took for Zaccolo. And our next high school event on Sports Channel will be Saturday. It's the 8th annual Suburban All-Star football game at noon. This game was produced and directed by Michelle Zafanti-Godwin. Coordinating producer is Greg Bowman. Our executive producer is John Toohey. Remote facilities were provided by Trio Video. Special thanks to Levere L. Estrad, retiring executive secretary of the IHSA, H. David Fry, Jim Flynn, Don Robinson, manager of this tournament, Charlene Bremberg, and Ola Bundy, assistant executive secretaries. Once again, the final score is Thornwood Thunderbirds 1 and East Moline United Panthers 0. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.